Welcome to Conversations in the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. Well, it's golf season here in Hartford. The weather is warm. It's my pleasure to be joined today by a member of Trinity's women's golf team, Malisha Van. And thank you so much for joining. And we don't often have first-year students on the podcast. And so you've got such an interesting story getting to Trinity. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. So we believe, we're pretty sure that you are Trinity's first student athlete from Kazakhstan.
Wow.
So, how does someone from Kazakhstan end up playing golf at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut?
Well, it all goes back to my dad. He is a huge fan of golf, and when my brother and I, he's younger than me, I was about 12, he was about 9, he was like, okay, you have to start playing golf so we can spend more time together as a family. They're like, okay, we'll try it out. It started as like a club after school, but then it kind of grew to like a long-term sport for us. And we were like, okay, let's go to like this country club and be members and have a coach. We didn't like it at first. It was because it's mentally hard and we were like kids. But then my dad was like, well, like, where do you want to be when you're in college? And I was like, well, I love Kazakhstan, but I feel like there's more to life and there's more opportunities outside of the country. And I was like, well, the US sounds really exciting, and my whole life I've been watching it on TV. So I was like, well, America sounds really cool. And he was like, okay, well, golf is gonna help you. And then he decided to just send us off to Florida Golf Academy.
So let's go back a little bit. So for like about how big is your home city in Kazakhstan? Like roughly how big, just to give people a sense. A couple 100,000 people.
No more.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at this.
That's okay.
I don't really know, but it's not small. It's, I think it's bigger than Hartford.
Mm-hmm. And so growing up as a child there, what were the bigger sports? I would imagine soccer, football was probably big. What else was big when you were kids growing up there?
Boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Triple G, if you know, he's from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
It was really big back home. And then soccer, as you mentioned. And swimming and skis, because we have a lot of snow in the winter, and everyone just loves to ski.
So a little bit more of almost like the extremes of climate, right? You have almost colder winters, little snowier winters, and then really, really hot summers, right?
Yeah, it gets
portions
hot.
of the country. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't get humid, which is nice.
So very dry. So when you're making this transition from some boxing, some swimming to golf, how long did it really take you for the bug to catch you? You mentioned like you're going, your brother's going. Sometimes for kids it's hard to just pay attention for long stretches of time. Like when did the bug finally get you?
Probably when I went to Florida for high school, because it's so intense there, and it's kind of started to get to us, and we started to like it more. But then it was such a big routine for us. It was a huge change. It was every day, 5 times a week for 5 hours. You have to be in this heat and practice golf. And it was like, well.
Was that your first extended time? Like, because you were at Saddlebrook, which is just outside of Tampa. It's humid.
Yeah.
Had you ever been in humidity like that before?
No, it was a really big change.
So you're at Saddlebrook, and was your brother there as well?
Yes.
Okay. And is he still there?
Yes, he's a sophomore right now.
So that golf is growing. Did you find that when you saw your dad and maybe played golf with him, like all of a sudden those family moments were more enjoyable too?
For sure. We had more in common because my dad, he loves to travel for work and we don't really get to see him, but golf like really brought us together, and now we have a lot of memories. We get to travel more because we play golf in different places. So it's a really good sport to play with my family.
So I'm just thinking, you talked early on, golf is this like pathway to education, and obviously a lot of people in the US and abroad feel sport can be a pathway to getting into a better school, to maybe getting into some schools that might, that's kind of your hook, in addition to being a great student. So as you were starting to look at schools, and maybe you're looking at schools in the Southeast, and what maybe drew you to Trinity? Because it's, when I would imagine a lot of people, when I'm going to go to high school in the States, I'm in Florida, and maybe I'm going to stay near Florida, so what drew you to Trinity?
Yeah, I was thinking of going somewhere near Florida, but I think I was so tired of the heat and humidity, and I really just wanted to get a little bit of spring and some snow once in a while. And I knew that golf, like for some people in my high school, golf was number one priority in their life, and they were considering going pro and all that. But for me personally, I want a good balance between education, because in my family, education is always always a priority. So I wasn't looking into like big major golf schools, and even if I found a really good school with like D1 golf, I wouldn't play golf. I would just focus on my education. But then Trinity showed up, and I was like, well, that's a really good chance for me to balance it out really well. And the weather is like, it's 4 seasons, and I get to play golf, but at the same time, it's mostly just academics, and it's a good school, so it was like bingo.
So, and I'll say that that's very very wise. Not a lot of students talk about 4 seasons when they're looking at schools, so I appreciate your mind for weather. So you get to Trinity, and just even this fall, like this is really one of the first times in your life you're playing golf, both for a team score in addition to the individual score.
Correct.
So what was that adjustment like the first time you go and you see your teammates are really concerned with what you're doing and how that went?
Yeah, it was a bit of a pressure, because as you said, I'm so used to playing just for myself and for my individual score, but coming here, I was like, okay, well, if you don't play well, it affects the whole team, not just you. So it kind of put me on the spot, and the first few tournaments I was really nervous, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And the grass is so different, the conditions are very different, so it was a bit of a struggle, but the team is so welcoming. They made me and the other freshman, who's my really good friend, feel really welcome, and just like, it's okay. Even if you don't play well, it's okay. We're all a team. We're still gonna do good. We got it.
And so going through the fall, did you have any of those moments in the fall when you're playing in a tournament, maybe the leaves are starting to change color a little bit, where you had okay, I'm getting my fall season back last fall?
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely feel it, and it kind of reminded me of home when I first started playing golf. And I was like, well, maybe it's a sign. Maybe I really should stay here and play golf. It was really nice to see the change of the scenery.
Yeah. And so, obviously a young program, still growing at Trinity, but talk a little bit more about the team, because I think most people still think of golf as an individual sport, or maybe something they do with their friends, but you come into a place like Trinity and you really have this built-in network of really, really close friends and classmates. And just talk about a little more just about how important that's been to not only your adjustment to golf, but just your adjustment to Trinity.
Yeah, I think it's a really good change, because when you're on a team, you feel more supported, especially coming as a first year into college. You feel such a big adjustment, and you feel maybe out of place, maybe a little bit lonely. So being in a team really helps you to like get into college, feel like you're fitting in, and getting this transition more smoothly and happier.
So, and I know for you, college isn't just about golf and just about school. So what are some other things that, as you have the opportunity to have balance in your life here at Trinity, that you would love to get involved with later in your Trinity career?
Yes, I love how Trinity has a lot of after school, like after class clubs and organizations. And I haven't been involved this year because I've been like adjusting, but I really look forward to next fall to get into like Asian Association and like these organizations, maybe like a little dance club, just to like balance out the work that I do and a little bit of fun and relaxing.
So you talked about travel and getting to do some, for example, trips with your father. What's the most amazing place you've been?
I think my favorite place to play golf that we've been to was Dubai. We were there in the spring, so it wasn't that hot, which is really good, but the conditions of the golf courses are amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it's so high quality, and you have a bit of the water, there's bunkers, there's trees, it's wide, it's narrow, it's everything. It's just so fun. And there's also night golf, which is, yeah.
And so what's maybe some place that you've thought about going, maybe talked about going as a family, that you're excited about?
Well, I really want to go to Europe. I haven't really been in Europe, maybe like Spain when I was a kid,
Mhm.
so that should be exciting.
Well, Malisha, we're excited to see what you and your teammates do the rest of the spring, and then obviously excited to see what you do in the rest of your Trinity career. So we're glad you're here and excited
Thank
to see
you so
more
much.
from you.
Thank you for having me.
That'll do it for this conversation on the Coop. For all the latest news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com and follow us on social at Bantam Sports. Until next time.